Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in my last video, I showed you how I did my brows, which I did just before this video. That's why you see my brows are already done. If you want to see my brow video, then go into my previous videos and you can see that. But right now, what I'm going to do is a smoky eye. And the first thing I always start off with is a clean face and my absolute favorite moisturizer, which is this Neutrogena Sensitive Skin Non-Comedogenic Oil-Free Moisturizer. Non-comedogenic just means that it won't cause pimples or won't irritate your skin if you have sensitive skin or if you already have some skin concerns. So I really like it. It's very light and I use it year round basically. The next thing I do is I make sure I use a base, a primer. So I have this primer. It's called First Base and it's by NYX. I also use other primers as well, but it's a spray. So I just spray a little bit and it's a light mist, but it gives you a nice canvas on which to work to put on your makeup. So I always do my eyebrows first and then I do my eyeshadow. My absolute favorite thing for eyeshadow is this MAC Prep and Prime. Please don't look at my nails. You know, this is Corona season. But anyway, MAC Prep and Prime 24-hour extended eye base. So if you ever wondered why your eyeshadow doesn't stick, because some eyeshadows don't really stick or they don't really adhere very well, it's probably because you need to put a base onto your eyelid. So I just take a little bit, and that's my ice machine in the background. I have an ice machine. And I put it usually on the lid. And I'm gonna look at my other mirror here so I can see what I'm doing. I put a little bit too much on my finger, so I'm just gonna wipe a little bit off. You don't need a lot. A little goes a long way. And I just move it maybe to the mid part. My eyes are kind of deep set. I just move it to the mid part here. I don't really go up top too much because I already had some concealer that was up there and I don't need to have it doubly stick. So, and that little piece just doesn't want to come onto my eyebrow, my eyelash rather. So I just kind of massage this in with my finger. Again, I am not a makeup artist, professional makeup artist, so I do a lot of things with my fingers. Anyhow, so I'm just smoothing that out. It goes in real quick, real smooth, and then I'm ready to put my first layer on. So the first thing that I do is I take a brush that looks like this, and I'm trying to see, this is a Morphe M412 brush, and it's kind of rounded, but it's pointed at the tip because I want a bit more wider coverage. Then I'm gonna go in and I am going to use my Morphe James Charles palette, and I'm going to be putting into that crease 10% off, and it's this one. It's called 10% off. So I'm going to do that. Right along the crease, right above the crease, just a little bit. And I'm using small, light strokes. You don't need it to be harsh. Doesn't need to be hard. Smaller, light strokes. And I'm kind of moving in a circular motion. And this, again, has a little point to it. I don't know if you can see, but it kind of gets in there and digs in. So I'm gonna do that on both eyes. I have to look in my other mirror right here because I can't really look in the camera. See, a little more. Like so. So for this tutorial, I'm going to be using all products from this palette just to make it a little bit easier. I'm then going to go in with an even smaller brush. So the first brush I used was this one. This one is a little smaller and it's even more pointed. So this one is a morph. I think that's a B. I don't have my glasses on. B43 brush. And I'm going to go in that crease even deeper with the color Benny, which is this color right here. Oh, let me take off the paper. And it's a brown, it's a deep brown. Oop. Outtakes. So I'm gonna go in with the color Benny and really kind of get in there to create a little bit of contrast. Now, I don't always start with the top first, but a lot of times I do. And again, I'm using a little bit of a firmer stroke right now, getting towards that edge. A little bit of a firmer stroke. But this is a dark brown. Little firmer, moving towards the edge. Then I'm gonna go back in because I just went over my 10% off a little bit to move that up just a little bit. Go back up to the 10% off. The other eye. Like so. And I'm using lighter strokes again on top, not heavier strokes. I'm using a medium stroke here. A little bit of a medium stroke. Then, so that's kind of what it looks like right now. Got a little work to do. Then I am going to go in with a deep purple. And I'm tapping. I am tapping. I'm not swiping. I'm pressing it in. I typically tap off my brush just a little bit, just to make sure I try to eliminate some of the fallout. Fallout meaning what falls up underneath your eye. Go to the other eye, and I'm just tapping. Again, this is my way of doing it. And I'm sure most of you MUAs out there, really professional ones, would say this is not probably the right way. The other thing you always need to do is start with a very clean brush. All of my brushes are clean. I don't want to get an eye infection. I don't want anything to happen to my precious eyes. So I make sure I always clean my brushes. I'm going in pretty heavy here. And I do have a little bit of fallout. Sometimes I just blow it like that. But this is what we're starting out with. Now I'm gonna go back in the crease. Makeup is all about blending, 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 blending. That's one of the things that a couple of my friends who are makeup artists have said to me: blend, 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 blend. I will never forget that. So I'm going to say it to you: blend, 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 blend. It's all about the blending to make it look a bit more seamless. So you have to alternate your strokes between harsh and softer. You can always add more product in the event you feel like some got wiped off or some got mixed in too much with another color. You can always go back. which is what I always do anyway. But I wanted some contrast between that purple, and I'm sorry, I didn't tell you what the name of the purple is. So the name of the purple is Escape. Escape. So now I'm gonna go back in. I'm gonna go with just a tad bit brighter shade, which is called You're Kidding. And that's this shade. It's that shade right there. So I'm gonna just dab just a little bit, but I want it to be just a little bit more standing out right there. I'm gonna use that same brush that I used on the 10%. And I did just, yes, use the same because it's a similar color. This is a little bit more orange, a little more orangey, a little more deep. Okay. Now I'm gonna go back and do a little bit more blending. The softer the lines, the nicer your makeup will look. The softer the lines. Okay. So now I have my handy dandy, I believe this is a Sigma brush. It is. It's a Sigma brush, but I'm not sure what the number is. But it's flat. So it's flat, but it has like kind of a point. But it's flatter and wider. And I'm gonna go back in to my brow bone, and I'm going to be using the color Canvas. It's a matte color. Sometimes I use matte, sometimes I use frosted, but it's that color right there. You can see it better. Kind of has a little glare, but it is a matte color, and it's right there in the corner of this palette. And I just gently kind of go right up underneath my eyebrow. I try to be lighter in the corners than heavier, concentrating more of my product in the middle. See, I got a little bit on my eyebrow, so I'm gonna go back and touch that up in a few minutes. And I just kind of bleed that right onto the corners. Bleed it right onto the corners. But it also softens the line between the orangish color and my brow bone. If you can see that. All right. So let's see. I think I'm gonna, cause see, my eyes are deep set, so when I close them, I don't see as much of this. So I'm actually gonna go back in, put a little bit more. Okay, so now this is my little secret for getting the makeup to be kind of in a straight line. Some people use tape. I don't really like the tape. So what I do is I take my handy dandy oil-free eye makeup remover, a piece of paper towel, I fold it in half, I kind of moisturize that, I fold that little piece in half, and then I just basically make a line, just like so. And it ends up taking out the excess that wasn't quite perfect. I tried the tape and I really didn't like it. So this also helps because then I wipe out the fallout. So I turn that back over and I wipe out the fallout too with my little makeup remover here. Okay. So, see, it gives it a little sharper line right there. You can do it as high or as angled as you want it. There we go. Perfect. So I'm just going to let it dry for a minute. And let's see. Sometimes I do this in 2 steps. Sometimes I go ahead and put on my concealer. As you see, I have naturally dark circles under my eyes. So a trick that my girlfriend taught me, because she is a Broadway actress, is to use orange to cancel out the dark. So sometimes I will use this palette, and this is MAC's Pro Conceal and Correct palette in dark. And that orange, I'll use that orange. But more often than not, I just use some eyeshadow. It was like, I learned how to do this because one day we were someplace and I didn't have anything to conceal with. And so she was like, here, use this. And I was like, yeah, okay. But I use it. And very honestly, this is my brush I use. I just use it all the time. So what I actually do is I just take this and I just go right under my eye. I swipe and dab a little bit. It's not a perfect science. Swipe and dab, dab and swipe. And then when I put on my concealer, it eliminates those dark areas down there. Yay. Something I also use, which is not typical. I know a lot of people don't use it, and this is made for covering up tattoos and things like that, but I just really like it. It's called Dermacol. And you see it? It comes in a little tube, and this is shade 223. And I use it as a concealer. So I dab a little, and I use my hand too. I'll use the back of my hand. And one day I'm going to learn how to really use brushes to do this. But I tried, and it just doesn't seem to get where I want it to go. So I mix it. So I mix the Dermacol 223 with this MAC, and this is NW 45, I believe. And this is also Pro Long Wear Concealer. So it's NW 45, it's a little darker, but to get the shade that I like, I mix those two together. I rub them together, and that's a little darker than I want it. I want it a little bit lighter. I want a little bit more of a highlight, so I put a little bit too much of the dark in there. So I'm gonna mix it together again, put a little bit more in there. Usually I get a little bit closer to the color, and I just literally, I go in and do this. I literally dab. Yes, I know this is highly not the best way. And I absolutely try to be as sanitary as possible, hence me starting with clean fingers. I always start with clean fingers. And I just dab, and I literally dab along that line. I dab right to my lash line. Then I go back, and since this is liquidy, I kind of keep dabbing a little bit, playing with it, because it needs a minute to kind of settle down. Then, with the blemishes on my face, I typically will put a little right there. Boop, that one's gone. Have some over here. Have blemishes there. And I go right into the crevice of the eye and go up just a little bit. Again, this is not a perfect science, people. But I've been asked by so many people how I do my makeup videos. So, ta-da! You're seeing how I do my makeup. Or rather, how I do my makeup, not my makeup videos. But I just kind of get in there. And then I dab down a little bit. And again, I'm dabbing, not wiping. I'm wiping just a little bit right here to get it right there. And then I sit for a minute because I want this to be a little less movable. Again, I am not a professional makeup artist, so please don't judge me too harshly. So that's pretty light. Woo! Woo! All right. So now, what you could do, you could, as they say, bake if you want to. And if I do that, I use this Sasha Buttercup powder. And it is, the color is Buttercup. And you just need a little bit of it. So I just tap that. Comes like that. And I use a beauty puff. And this has a little notched, beveled end. I can't remember who this is by though. I think I might have gotten it from the drugstore. And then you can just tap. You just tap it on in there. I'm just pouring out a little bit into here to make it easier to do. When I do this, I usually don't do it for long. A little got on my nose there. I usually don't do it for too long. Woo! I look a little bright. Okay. So we're gonna let that sit there. Now, next, I typically go in with my foundation. So for today, and I use all different kinds of foundations. Sometimes I use Black Opal from the drugstore, from CVS. But today I'm gonna be using Morphe. And this is in the shade F4.10 Matte. And it's the Fluidity Full Coverage Foundation. That's what that is. A little of this goes a long way too. So I have another beauty puff. I already pre-moistened this a little bit. And I'm just gonna put a little bit more moisture there. I'm going to put my stuff right on here. And then I'm just gonna start going in. Yeah, I'm covering this up too. And I'm dabbing again. Remember how I told you I was gonna cover up here where it looks like a little bit of a halo above my eyes? Well, that's what that's for. So I stop right here, and then I use the back part to kind of move the product up into my hairline area. But I don't want it super thick in my hairline area, and I don't want to color my hairline. So that's why I use the back of this. But you see, this covers very nicely. You want to get it right around your ears. I just dab just a little bit more. Again, I use like a pea-size amount, and this stuff, a little, goes a very long way. And I get right next to that line, right like so. You also want to get your jawline. So this is where I do swipe. I swipe kind of lightly because I don't want there to be a giant line. So ears, kind of swipe jawline right under here, I swipe. Because I don't want there to be a huge delineation betwixt the two. All right. So we're doing pretty good here. Let's see. Next, I typically do wait until now to go in with my eyeliner. And the reason I do that is simply because when I'm doing my foundation and doing my concealer, it typically will kind of mess it up if I don't. So, and I still have to make a little adjustment right here. So I just go in right to my lash line. And this is a MAC. It's kind of short, so I'm not even sure which color this is, but I think it's Feline. So I go right into my eyelash line. Put it in, see the difference? Brightens you up a little bit. I just pull that eyeball right on down. Not eyeball, you know what I was talking about. And this isn't the sharpest right now, but I try to usually keep it a little bit sharper than this. Pull it down. Make sure you're just lining that puppy up. And there you go. And this is Feline. Feline eyeliner by MAC. So then I just go back in, because sometimes I have little marks from where my fingerprints were. So I just go back in and I dab a little bit, like so. All right, we're doing good, we're doing good. So, contouring. Do you want to contour? I have a contour brush that I use, and the brush that I like to use, let me see if is an e.l.f. brush, and it's actually a foundation brush, but it's pointed. So I use this MAC Richly Honed Pro Sculpting Cream to give me, that's what that looks like, a nice contour. So I just go in here like so, and I do that. And I leave it just like that. No, I'm just kidding. No, I do not leave it just like that. So then I wipe this off a little bit. But then I just come in and I actually soften it a bit. A lot of it. And additionally, I come back in with my handy dandy Buttercup. And go underneath it. To create a line. I just dab that out just a little bit. Dab it out just a little bit more. Because now I've created this line. And if I don't like how much I put right there, sometimes I don't, then ye old fingers, smooth it out, smooth it out. Okay. Similarly, if I want to contour my nose, I do the same thing. I just go in, and on either side of my nose, a little of this goes a long way. I literally just dab the tip, because this has a little pointed tip, in this sculpting cream. And I start on either side of my nose and come down around the tip. And then I kind of brush it to the side. Brush down to the side just a little bit. Come back up here. All right. So that you don't see too much of a line. But see, it instantly gives you that sculpt. Then I do come back in with my handy dandy Dermacol. You could use any concealer, and I just literally dab just a little bit, because it goes a long way. And then I just lighten that one little area right there. I come in on the sides, blend it out. Blend, 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 blend. There you go. So now, have a little contour on my nose. All right. So in my last video, I talked about my eyebrow set that I use because my hair is so light. Do it a little darker. So this is my MAC brow set in Girl Boy. And I'm going to put a little bit of that on my brows. I just swipe up and across, up and across, up and across, up and across and down. Getting that little corner there. Up and across and down, up and across and down. And it lightens it a little bit for me, because I don't like to have my brows so light. My brows so dark rather, I'm sorry, when my hair is so light. So I like it to match just a little bit. Up, up. I also have a clear brow set too. And MAC makes a wonderful clear brow set as well. But there are plenty of different brow sets that you can use. So I don't believe in being beholden to MAC or just one company. It's not really necessary, because there's so much makeup. There's so much beautiful makeup out there. Then I'm going back, because I think I might have lightened that little area right there. So I'm gonna put my purple back in that corner just a little bit. There we go. Okay, so we're almost done. I always start with some type of lip finish so that I have moist lips when I'm doing this, because I'm moving around and I'm, opening my mouth and doing all kinds of stuff. So I like to have my lips moist. One of the products that I really do like is this MAC Prep and Prime. And it's a lip moisturizer. Let me see what it's called. Prep and Prime Lip. It's just called Lip. And it's white. It's just white. Probably has a little makeup on. And I just, wipe it on. And it's a prep for your lips. So you can put it on before you put on your makeup. Leaves your lips nice and moist, and it prepares it and gets you ready for the rest of your lip color a little bit later on. So I typically do a highlight, and my favorite highlighter on the planet is this Fenty Beauty Trophy Wife. Again, a little bit goes a long, long way. You can see it's my favorite. I'm almost out of it. So I just dab this little fan brush. Fan brush, you can get from Target, you can get it from any place. And I just go, see that? Ooh, look at that highlight. And it looks a little brighter on here than it is where I am. But I just kind of go in a little motion like that, right on my cheekbone, because my cheekbone's right there. Right under the eye right there. Little bit right there. All right. So now we got a little highlight, and then I take just a little bit, put on my nose, and go up. Boom. All right. So now, oh, I love the highlight. Highlight gives me life. I'm going to go on to my handy dandy MAC palette, blush palette. I'm going to have to find out the name. I'll put the name of it, of the one I'm using down here at the bottom. But I'm going to use this one. It's like a purplish color, a light purplish color. So I am going to use that one. Take my little brush. This brush is, we don't know, but it's a small fluffy brush, And I just go in right under the highlight on the cheek. Not enough, just put a little more, but I always go back to this side first. And then take a look. See, I always go all the way up to the top there. And then I come back here. It's easier to put on more than to take off. So I just do a little color. Little color. For the purposes of this video, because it looks a little light, I'm gonna put a little bit more, just so you can see it. I don't know why it's looking so light. Then I actually go back in with my little fan brush. With my highlight. All right. Then I take my handy dandy mascara, which I love. And this is by Benefit, and it's called They're Real. It's my favorite on the planet. I probably should have gotten another one before I do this. But anyhow, I take this. Oh, it's itching. Take this. Like so. Sorry about that. I had to get a little closer to the handy dandy mirror so I can see. Don't poke myself in the eye with this thing. Oh no, you can't see it. But it gives you really nice length and extension. And do the other side. Do. Trying to get the corner. I typically don't do my lashes underneath either, because I found them very difficult to do. So I personally just don't do them. I'll leave that to the true professionals. And now on to the lipstick. Okay, so now we're going to do the lips. I'm just going to use a brown pencil. This is actually an eye pencil, but I use it as a lip pencil. They sometimes are interchangeable. I'm just gonna do a little line, outline my lips. And typically, unless I'm going very bold, for a very bold look, with a darker eye, I'll use a lighter lip. So that's what I'm gonna do today. Okay, so I've lined my lips, and I'm not much for overlining, like going above, outside of the lines. And what I'm gonna use today is from Colored Rain, and it's called Sugar. Again, I already prepped my lips by putting on the moisturizer, and it's been sitting, so it's been marinating my lips and all that. This is a nice light color. I do go over the liner a little bit because I don't want it to look like 1982. Don't need to look like 1982. And then, of course, as you all know, I'll make an adjustment. This is a matte lipstick, which I love. Eyes get in there. And I love Colored Rain. It's like one of my favorites. Get the Cupid's bow. And the other side. All right. So then for a little shine, I'm going to use NYX, and this is Butter Gloss in the color Apple Strudel. Because I do just want a little bit of shine. See that? Gives a little pop of shine. And we are done. So let me know if you have questions. Let me know your comments, your thoughts, if you want to see something else, if you want to see another look on me. But this is it.